Orange bunting over the railings, foam gravestones by the fountain, a DJ booth under a plastic moon. At the info desk, a weatherman looped on TV. Dense fog later thicker than you've ever seen. Folks nothing to worry about. Melissa rolled her eyes. Heard that before. Tamara adjusted her vampire cape, fangs gleaming. Text Dad when the costume contest starts. Gia flicked her pirate eye patch up. Aye, Captain. She elbowed Marcus, who clacked his goalie mask for effect. Keith lifted his skeleton hood. Sarah's LED wings pulsed soft blue. Poor few is two, Melissa said. Stay together. If you split, you call me. We're in Southie, not Mars. They moved as a laughing 7-kid parade. Apple bobbing by the food court, free candy at the stationery store, a photo booth that printed crooked pictures. Sarah stuck one to the railing. We look wicked cool. By 10, the line at the haunted mini-maze snaked past the pretzel place. Fog machines puffed tame theater fog that smelled like bubblegum. Gia sniffed. Fake, Tamara nodded. Too sweet. Overhead, the skylights lacquered the night black. Somewhere beyond the roof, the harbor breathed cold. A janitor in a Bruins beanie pushed a cart past and said, "Use kits be good." Then softer to Melissa, "You hear about that fog advisory?" "Yeah," she said, "just fog." At 10:30, the DJ hyped the costume finals. Melissa filmed Tamara's swirl and Gia's sword salute, sending both clips to David with a caption. "Wish you were here." 3 dots appeared, blinked, vanished, still at work. "Be there if I can." The mall's intercom chimed. Parking levels A and B are closed for a private event. The DJ shrugged and started a line dance. Keith and Marcus botched the steps on purpose. Everyone lost it. Near the atrium, a new sign went up by security. Fog advisory, use main entrances only. The guard shrugged, like even he didn't buy it. Melissa caught Tamara watching the skylight again. "You okay?" "Yeah," Tamara said. "Feels like the night's heavier than usual." "Sugar crash," Melissa said, but she felt it too. Air with weight, like a quilt someone kept tucking tighter. By 10:45, a chill pooled around ankles. Not a key denser. The fake fog near the maze seemed to hesitate, as if listening. Gia rubbed her arms. "Mom, you feel that?" "Probably the door's opening." Still, Melissa tightened her grip on her tote, counting heads by instinct. Tamara, Gia, Keith, Marcus, Sarah. 5 kids. Her. A text buzzed from David. "On my way as soon as I switch out a busted fan. Keep 'em close." Melissa smiled at the screen, then at her little crew. "All right, crew. Hydrate, bathroom, then we park ourselves by the fountain for the midnight balloon drop." Nobody wanders. They moved as one, laughter trailing like streamers. Behind them, a poster on the wall curled up from the bottom, as if the mall had taken a deeper breath. No one noticed. At 11:03, the automatic doors at the south entrance sighed open and didn't sigh shut. Cold rolled in as a low white bank, no drama, just certainty. Not puffs, a lime. "Whoa," Keith said. "That's not the bubblegum machine." The janitor with the beanie stopped pushing, watching the fog drag itself like a slow tide. "That ain't right." The first layer slipped over the tiles and split around chair legs like it was thinking about them. It wasn't bright white. It was pearl with shadows inside, little wriggles like minnows. The mall's happy fog machine wheezed and died as if embarrassed. Inside, security called, herding latecomers away from the doors. "We're close in the south entrance. Go to the main concourse." The fog climbed the air a few inches like it had found a stair. The little wriggles inside it rolled together and made a shape, then changed their minds and unmade it again. "Okay," Melissa said, voice steady because that's what moms do. "We head to the info desk. Lights. We stick to crowds. Is that even fog?" Sarah whispered. Her LED wings dimmed a notch without her touching them. They skirted the fountain. The fog lifted itself and tried to taste the water. Where it met the surface, the top layer of the pool went matte, like glass frosting from the wrong side. Marcus flicked his goalie mask up. "This is wicked." "Wicked dumb to be standing here," Tamara said, grabbing his sleeve. At the info desk, a teenager in a mall polo handed out mini flashlights from a plastic bin. "Corporate sent a note," he said, eyes huge. "If fog fills the atrium, use lights and move uphill to level 2. "Lights," Melissa said. "Everyone." Gia clicked hers on and painted a line across the tile. The fog withdrew an inch, not burned refused. Keith swept his on in a slow arc. It hates edges. Keep 'em moving, Tamara said. Don't give it a line to climb. Sarah nodded, rotating her wrists so the light jittered. At 11:17, a clack-clack-clack echoed as the gate at the south wing rattled down. The fog pushed against it and flowed through the tiny rhombus holes like 1,000 fingers, gathering on the other side in a low, hungry heap. Upstairs, Melissa ordered. Now. They joined a stream of families toward the big staircase. The fog's leading edge brushed an abandoned shopping bag. The plastic caved in like lungs exhaling. Halfway up, a screen popped off in the cosmetics store. Melissa yanked the kids into a railing alcove. Inside the store, fog piled against the display lights. The bulbs buzzed, flickered, stuttered. The fog reached up their cords like ivy and the lights went out one by one. When darkness took the back wall, something moved forward with it, tall as a display, wrong as a puppet. Go, Melissa said. Go, go. On level 2, the camping kiosk's clerk waved frantic. Take 'em! Hand warmers, torch lighters, whistles. Melissa grabbed a torch lighter and a stack of heat packs, dividing them. Pocket these, heat might help. Soundamite too. The fog had height now, them thigh crawling up the atrium like it remembered stairs. The janitor slammed a fire door and tossed Melissa a ring of keys. If you gotta duck, duck into the service hall. But don't get lost. Thank you, she said, meaning it like a prayer. A pulse ran through the fog like a shutter shared. It pushed at the second-level railing, testing. Where Gia's flashlight line met it, the edge trembled and pulled back. Keep it dancing, Tamara said, lights flicking like a drummer's sticks. No straight lines. Down below, someone shouted, It's at the escalator. The fog slid up the moving steps as if the metal was a tongue. Melissa looked at her girls, then the 3 friends, then them all. We find higher, we find heat, and we wait for Dad, she said. Stay wicked sharp. The fog breathed in reply. They cut through the arcade, neon flickering like trapped lightning. The fog hesitated at the threshold, as if the buzzing signage annoyed it. Melissa shoved quarters at Keith. Turn everything on? Keith slammed buttons. Cabinets woke. Soundtracks layered into a chaotic wall. The fog thinned, confused by too many signals. Not a shield, Tamara said. A speed bump. Enough to move, Melissa said. Food court heat and dryers. The food court was half lit. A fryer still glowed orange in the burger place. The manager, eyes wild, held a pan like a shield. Don't let it near the oil, it eats cold. Heat makes it twitch. Hand dryers, Gia said, pointing to the bathrooms. Hot air. Keith, Marcus leaf blowers, Melissa said, nodding toward the hardware kiosk's seasonal blowout display. Sarah, fairy wings on knacks, keep light moving. They became a crew without needing to be told. Marcus shouldered a compact blower. Keith grabbed another and a bag of rock salt. Salt? Worth a shot, Melissa said. It's a New England mall. We salt everything. Tamara and Gia flanked her, lights jittering, heat packs warming in their palms. The fog rolled in under the tables, reached for ankles, recoiled at warm air bursts. A tendril slithered up a chair leg and thickened into a shape that suggested knees, then melted back to ooze under Sarah's flickering wings. Push it to the atrium, Melissa said. Don't trap it with us? A whistle shriek cut through the cacophony. A security guard on a Segway skidded by, tossing Melissa a red flare. Last one. Use it when it counts. Bless you, Melissa said, tucking it into her belt. From the service corridor came a wet, dragging sound. The fog had found the cool tile and the low air. It poured through the gap like a living spill. Door, Tamara barked. Keith kicked it shut. Marcus held the leaf blower on the seam. Melissa traced a line of rock salt. The fog paled against it, coiling, then seeking another path. Gia laughed, breathless and bright. It hates chowder season, huh? Wicked, Sarah said, eyes big, wings brightening as she spun. They leapfrogged, blowers to push, salt to fence, dryers to sting, lights to confuse. A cluster of teens from the mini maze joined in, wielding hairdryers from a salon like sidearms. This is bananas, one muttered, then whooped when the fog peeled back from the heat. At 11:52 the PA cracked to life. Please proceed to level 3. Emergency ventilation engaging. Ventilation? Marcus said. Suck or blow? Either buys time, Melissa said. Stairs! They reached the stairwell. The fog surged there first, colder in the concrete throat. The janitor's keyring jingled. Melissa tried 3 keys before one turned. The door groaned open to a maintenance landing, humming with machinery. "Dad's department," Tamara said, hope snapping in her eyes. "Generator room's up that way," Melissa said, pointing to painted arrows. The fog poured after them, hungry for the cool, the quiet, the closed. Melissa popped the flare cap and struck. Fume-red light ate the shadows in a cone. The fog recoiled so hard it tore, exposing an instant of wiry black limbs inside that snapped back like centipede legs. Everyone shouted at once, fear, awe, victory. "Move!" Melissa yelled, holding the fire like a sword. "Gia, salt! Keith, blow! Tamara, with me!" They climbed a blast and burn procession. At the top landing, a heavy door read mechanical authorized only. Melissa slapped the keyring on the plate. Nothing. "Dad would bypass it," Tamara said. "Dad would—" "Knock," Gia said, half laughing. From behind the door, a familiar rhythm thudded once, then twice. "Footsteps. David." Melissa cried. Silence. Then the footsteps landed again, but wrong, too even, too empty. The fog hissed, rising. The flare snapped shorter, spitting sparks. Melissa squared her shoulders. "We hold this landing till midnight," she said. "Then Dad gets here, and we go home." The fog smiled without a mouth and pushed. Midnight rang without bells. The HVAC coughed, failed, coughed again. The flare died, a last red breath. Fog surged, delighted. "Back beam!" Sarah shouted, spinning her wings to keep the light stuttering. Keith and Marcus planted their blowers and raked the fog like leaves in a storm. Gia slung salt with pirate flourish, a bright white crescent on gray tile. The mechanical door banged once, twice, then popped as a manual latch turned. A figure filled the frame, toolbox in one hand, headlamp blazing. "Hey!" David barked, Southie thick in his voice. "Who told the fog it could throw a pate in my mall?" "Dad," Tamara and Gia said together, relief hitting like oxygen. "Hi, love," Melissa said, half laughing. "We made friends." David strode onto the landing, flipped 2 switches on a belt unit. Portable beacons popped to life, throwing hard white from his hips. The fog recoiled, then tried to wrap around the new edges. David kept moving, never offering it a clean line. "Fans are online but tripped," he said, headlamp cutting through the pearl. "We get to the mezzanine, slam the breakers, and blow this crud back out the roof. You with me?" "Wicked with you," Marcus said, grin fierce behind his mask. They pushed as a pack into the mechanical mezzanine, a catwalk ribbing the ceiling above the atrium. Below, fog boiled over benches and murched like sea foam over rocks. Above, red exit signs hissed, haloed with a damp glow. David pointed to 3 gray cabinets. "Gia, that one look for VFD North. Tam, you're with me on supply too. Keith, Marcus hold the catwalk line with blow us. Sarah, keep that fairy disco rolling. Mel eyes on the fog. It learns fast." "This is illegal," Melissa said, already moving. "So's being eaten by air," David said. He popped a panel, hands practiced and calm. On 3, 1, 2, the mezzanine shook. Down below, a fog column stood up the height of the atrium, threaded with those wiry knot limbs. At its crown, 2 cold lantern eyes opened knot lights, holes. 3, David finished, and slammed the breaker. Somewhere deep, fans kicked. Air shifted, new wind slicing across the catwalk. The fog's column juddered, peeled, recohered. Gia found the right switch and jammed it. North vents howled, sucking at the fog's edges. Tamara cranked supply 2. Warm air poured into the concourse. The fog hissed, genuine pain now, not just offended physics. "Keep it messy," Melissa shouted over the roar. "No straight beams." The kids danced their lights, blowers, wings, and whistles, a clumsy ballet of survival. The column leaned toward them, lantern eyes narrowing. It reached an arm of colder, darker fog across the gap, fingers forming, fingers failing in the crosswind. David stepped into its focus and grinned like a Southie movie star. "Hey, pal," he said. "You picked the wrong ba." He yanked a dead man on a roof relief. Louvers snapped, and a sluice of night shoved downward then up, carrying fog like trash in a gutter. The column ripped, shredded, tried to pour itself down throats, around ankles into ears. The kids whooped and held the line. Below, People in clusters felt the wind, stood, and ran for the lit corridors. Security waved, whistled, cried. The janitor in the beanie saluted the mezzanine, tears on his face in the sudden hot air. The fog retreated in ragged sheets. The lantern eyes blinked out, then back, then smaller, then gone. No, not gone. Thinner, right it, David yelled. All breakers, all vents, everything loud. Make Southie sound like a friggin' jet engine. They did. The mall roared like a living thing that had chosen to be on their side. The fog tore and ran for the roof vents, for the cracks, for the places wind couldn't live. A last tendril whipped at Gia's calf. Tamara stomped it with a vampire heel. It popped like dry ice, leaving a rim of frost. Then the noise was only fans and human sobbing and the creak of a building deciding to relax. Dad, Gia said, shaking, laughing. You showed up like a superhero. Nah, David said, pulling them all into a messy hug. Just a guy with keys. The mezzanine lights steadied. The fog was thinner, leaving damp and glitter and a smell like old pennies. It was winning time. Until the mall spoke. The PA clicked. David's own voice came out of it, perfect. All clear. Please proceed to the nearest exit. David's mouth stayed closed. Melissa looked at him. He looked at her, then at the speaker. The fog, somewhere they couldn't see, smiled without a mouth again. Not his voice, Melissa said. It's copying. The PA repeated, eerily warmer. All clear. Come on down. Bring the kids. Fake, Tamara said. Real dad would say wicked, David snorted. Wicked true. They descended in a tight cluster, blowers and lights still jittering, salt crunching under shoes. The concourse looked like a hungover New Year. Streamers, spilled candy, a stroller on its side. People in little islands rose when they saw the crew and moved toward the wind. At the main exit, the doors had fog pressed against the glass from outside, breathing in and out like the ocean. Fans blew it back a foot. It flowed in again. A stalemate. Dehumidifiers, David said, pointing to a rental kiosk. Keith and Marcus wrestled two onto casters and fired them. Warm, dry air spilled. The fog thinned where the vents blew strongest, showing glimpses of the lot lights as pale discs. Security, Melissa called. Keep everyone inside till we've got a lane. The guard nodded, eyes on the glass. Copy. Don't say copy, Sarah whispered. Creepy tonight. They worked the line, carving a corridor of drier air toward the covered parking. The fog pushed, clever now, dividing into skinny tendrils to slip between blower cones. Gia salted the seams like she was icing a cake. Tamara whistled a piercing rhythm to keep panic at bay. The PA changed tactics. David's voice again, softer. Mel? Honey? It's clear outside. I'm waiting by the car. Bring Gia and Tam. The real David frowned. I don't even own a car that close. Don't listen, Melissa said. Listen to the wind. They made the corridor, 20 feet of safer gray. We move in groups of 20, David told security. Hands on the rail, eyes on the floor. If the fog rises, you go back. Do not run. The first group took it, shepherded by the janitor with the beanie and a woman from the salon armed with 2 hair dryers like pistols. People whooped when the covered parking swallowed them. Again, Melissa said, and they did. By 1:30, the mall had fewer islands of fear. The fog outside paced like a denied cat. Inside, damp remained and a feeling like someone had almost said your name. Last run, David said. Then we close it up, ride it out till morning. Then we Keith said. Marcus bumped his shoulder. Kids learning. They lined up for the final push. The PA clicked. This time it wasn't David's voice. It was Melissa's, exact and intimate. Girls, babies, mommy's outside, come meet me. Gia flinched, then squared up. Nah, she said to the ceiling. Nice try. The fog at the glass curled into shapes that suggested hands and faces and things from under a pier you don't name. The dehumidifiers hummed louder. The fans kept roaring. The corridor held. 3, 2, 1, David counted, and they moved. Halfway through, a child broke from the group, sleepwalking calm, headed for the fog like it was a warm bath. The fog reached. The corridor breathed in. Sarah launched, fairy wings flashing, and snagged the kid's hoodie with a hook of light. Melissa and Marcus hauled them back, shoes scraping. The fog's edge licked the kid's sock, frost rimed it. He yelped and woke. Cold, he said, bewildered. Supposed to be warm. Almost there, Melissa said, and they were under the concrete overhang, the drier air lapping like safety. Security rolled the gate. The fog pressed and held at the threshold, testing, learning. It sent one slender tongue under the rubber sweep, found the salt, withdrew, thinking. David exhaled, leaned on a post, wiped sweat. "All right," he said. "We." The PA clicked one more time. All the voices at once, braided from every speaker at a whisper, "Stay out the fog." Then silence. They looked at each other, then at the glass. The fog had stopped pressing. It just watched, if fog could watch. In the reflection, Melissa saw the 7 of them. Witch, vampire, pirate, skeleton, goalie, fairy, weary dad. She also saw something else. Behind them, faint, their silhouettes a shade darker than they should be. When she moved, the silhouettes moved too, but a fraction late, like an echo of shape. "Do you see?" she began. "Yeah," David said softly. "I see it." They shut the doors. They sandbagged the seams. They sat with the fans and the humming machines and the tired people waiting for dawn. Outside, southeast streets were a soft gray ocean. Somewhere down L Street, a foghorn sounded once, and something in the fog sounded back the same note, cleaner, closer. Melissa took her daughter's hands. "Rule for life," she said. "Stay out the fog," Gia said, grinning tired. "Stay wicked out," Tamara added. They laughed the kind of laugh you do to keep from shaking. The mall lights hummed. The fog waited, patient, smart, learning the edges of them. In the glass, their silhouettes breathed just once, as if the fog had already practiced being inside.